As I got older, I realized that only I can be the one to determine who I am and who I'm going to become and who I am not. You know, no one else can define Jasmine, not even the people near and dear to my soul. And we equate our worth to someone else's thoughts. But why? For what? Let's rock, let's rock. Hey guys, it's all that jazz. Welcome back to my channel. We are on the road to 1K, so go ahead and join today by clicking that red subscribe button. It's another chit chat with Jazz. I'm coming to you about different topics that pop up in my head to send a message or to help anybody out there that is going through certain things in life. And today the topic is know your worth. So let's start out with how to know your worth. So number one, you need to associate your worth with the right things. And if I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking at like my note. When I do my videos, I always kind of like map out what I have to say, otherwise I'll be looking at the screen like, and we're done. So we don't want that. But basically I'm gonna be looking down and looking and talking to y'all, so just run with me. You want to associate yourself with the right thing and define yourself with the correct values. And what I mean by that is, for example, if what you do for a living defines who you are, then your confidence is always going to waver. So if you associate, like, if I'm not a doctor, or I'm not in this particular field, or I'm not who somebody thinks that I should be, whether it's a friend, a coworker, or a parent, then you allowing that to define who you are, you'll never be confident in who you are. For example, because some days you'll exceed, if it's a career, right? Some days you'll exceed in that career and other days might not be so good. So on the days that you didn't do that great at work or at school or whatever it is, if you define yourself as just a student or you define yourself as just a doctor, then your confidence is not going to be stable, and it's going to be changed based off how your day went because you allowed just that one value to define who you are, like what you do. And you don't want to do that. You have to figure out what your values are and what matters most to you. You have to know that your worth is not equivalent to other people's thoughts. And this is a big one, y'all. This is really major in understanding your self-worth. You have to understand that just because somebody else thinks this of you, that does not make you who you are. So for example, when I was younger, a lot of people would always tell me that I was scary because, first of all, my mom she limited my exposure to a lot of things, which I now appreciate as an adult. And so there will be like, I didn't go to parties like that. I didn't do a lot of like the risque things when I was younger that other kids do, sneak out their house, stuff like that. So because I wouldn't do that thing, some people that I had associated myself with would be like, you're scary, or like, why don't you want to do this, or just come on. Like, when I say I never failed to peer pressure in my life, I've never failed to peer pressure, especially in school. I was just always like, in a way, that was what my mom always told me that she liked about me, and I guess she did instill that in me, was a leader. And I won't say like a leader like I take charge and like I'm the leader of this meeting, or I'm the leader, but I just always the type that would do my own thing. I would never feel like, especially when it came to other people around me or like friends, I've never been attracted to popularity, and that's just me. In a sense, that was what I struggled with. And then once I accepted, like, you don't want to be popular because you don't want to do popular things, I was kind of like, hey, it's okay to be Jasmine. Like, just be you, do you. I did at one point allow that to define me and be like, okay, I'm scary, and I didn't really used to like that about myself. And then I was like, okay, and you're scary, so what, you know, like maybe it's not that bad to be quote unquote scary, you know. That was the word that they used, so I'm just using it. As I got older, I realized that only I can be the one to determine who I am and who I'm going to become and who I am not. You know, no one else can define Jasmine, not even the people near and dear to my soul. And even to this day, sometimes I remind myself, only you define you, and I can't get caught up in what I might think that somebody thinks about me, or their reaction to something, or if they're judging me. Because sometimes we'll go home and we'll replay situations and be like, dang, she probably think this about me, or dang, if I said, like, she kind of got quiet when I started saying that, or she didn't really respond like I thought she was gonna respond, or he didn't really respond. Then we start dwelling on like other people's thoughts and feelings, and we equate our worth to someone else's thoughts. But why? For what? That doesn't help you move forward, and then you'll just continue to be living your life for someone else and what they think of you and think you should do. What I learned is that it takes time to realize your worth. It takes time to understand like who you interact with and the relationships that you form, that they're all going to be different, but you want to interact with the right people. Once you realize this and you're like, okay, I don't need to be like making my worth equate to this, then you begin to put up with only the people and things that are on your level. And that's not to say that you're better than anybody, but it's just who you can relate to and where you're going in life. You're gonna meet so many different people that you come across and you're gonna vibe with, and you want to make sure that it's positive energy as much as possible. And then you end up not chasing the wrong things and the wrong people, and you get clarity on your life. Honestly, when you figure out your worth, you start to settle for less and less, and your tolerance is lower and lower. I realize this, you go through less drama. So like for me, my circle is not super huge, and that is for a reason. I tolerate certain people, but I've always been the type of person that has understood what type of friend that I wanted. It goes on to another thing. So when you know your worth, it's easier for you to be confident in the direction that your life is going. You make your own choices and you learn from your mistakes, and I believe that's what makes a person stronger versus trying to become what someone else or social media or society tells them to be. And once you start caring less about what others think, then there will be like a weight lifted off of your shoulder. Like you'll just be like, oh, I can breathe because I'm literally doing this for me. I'm doing this because it's something that I love. I'm becoming this person because I want to embrace this part of me. You do have to understand that when you understand your worth, you're still going to be judged, and other people are still going to define you and put you in this box. But subconsciously, you have to know, like, it's really like a brain thing, but you have to know your worth and who you are so that it has an effect on you more like positively every day. Let's talk about how you can know your worth and some things that you can practice to improve your self-worth or understand and come to, you know, a conclusion about loving yourself and knowing who you are and what you deserve and what you shouldn't put up with, what you should put up with, who you should put up with, and etc., etc. You need to make sure that you're constantly practicing self-love. I'm not talking about like, I mean, you can go, you know, get your hair done, your nails done, but like on a deeper internal level, you have to practice, like, know the things that you love about yourself and boost it. Like, honestly, like my husband always told me that the way that athletes are successful is because they're cocky, and not in a negative way, but just like you have to be confident in your talent, or you have to be confident about the next move that you're gonna make, because if you're not, then you're just gonna fail, and why would you want to fail, right? He explains it a lot better, but I never understood it. He's like, no, they have to be. You think that they can, of course they can be humble to an extent, but they can't walk around like, I mean, I'm okay. Like, no, they gotta be like, I got this, like, I'm good, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna shoot it, I'm gonna make it. He definitely taught me that, and I'm not in any way would you think that I'm cocky, because I'm not. But I have been on a journey since I was younger of accepting myself for who I am, and then understanding that if there's certain things about myself that I don't like, then I have to just work on changing it. And to me, that's like a life process. Like, that's not an overnight thing. That's something that, you know, you have to work on every single day, even if it's just small. So there's certain things or thoughts that might come into my head that I have to revert, and I have to say no. Like, something positive, negative might happen, and I'm like, but maybe I shouldn't look at it that way. I have to change my perspective on the way that that thought came in my head, you know. Or even if I get to overthinking, then it's like, yeah, that's probably not, you're thinking too deep. And I had heard this on a podcast that was like, 99% of the things that you think are gonna happen don't happen. When you start thinking like negative things, like what if, and you start getting anxious about things, and you start like replaying stuff that occurs, most of that stuff doesn't even happen. You go to the event and you didn't fall, and you didn't fumble over your words, and when you presented that speech, and you didn't mess up when you did that clinical, like a lot of that stuff doesn't even happen. But if you continue to put that into your mind and your brain and over and over and over, then it will. Honestly, I've learned that you could be you know, trying to boost yourself, and it's like, I'm gonna be good, but do you truly believe that you were gonna be good when you presented that project, or did you just know you were gonna fail? Because for me, when I was in college, like, people would tell me I was really good at presenting things, and I would be like, no, like, I'm just okay, like, I fumbled over. But after the end of it, I would have, like, my best friend would tell me that, and my mom has told me that. Like, I've had a couple people tell me that, even like people that I met through college would be like, wow, you did a really good job up there. And I'm like, really? Like, seriously? And so then I started being like, maybe I'm being too hard on myself. So understanding that, you know, you aren't perfect, but thinking the right thoughts will get you to a better place and a better mindset. And then you also, to know your worth, you want to surround yourself with the right people. This is what I was saying before, but to know, you need to ask questions like, are they a positive person, or are they draining your energy? Are they trying to become better at life and wanting to grow, or are they okay with where they at? Do they not want to improve the situation that they're in? And it doesn't matter what age, but are y'all on the same page mentally? Because if you're like, yeah, girl, I'm trying to do this, this, and that, and she hating, that's not the one for you. That's not the friend for you, you know? Now, we all have times in our life, we're not perfect, where we might get jealous, or we might be like, dang, you know, I could have, that if only, but that's just not your path. And I had to understand that too. When I grew up, I had to say, like, what's for me is for me. And I still have to tell myself that repeatedly, because you might look and be like, I mean, I'm just saying, I've been asking for that for like 2 years. I just been wanting a new car, or I've been wanting a house, or I've been wanting a new job. I've been wanting, and you telling me that you gonna go ahead and give it to her like that. She just got it, just nothing like that. But you don't know what that person's been through, and it doesn't matter. It's just not your time, and it doesn't mean it won't happen. But if you keep dwelling on what's good for other people and not for yourself, then yeah, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna get to where you want to be, because you're worried about where they're at. I'm speaking, y'all. I'm speaking life right now. And also, another way to know your worth is you have to take risks, but you have to understand what risk to take as well. But when you take a risk, you cannot doubt yourself, and you have to, you know, take a minute to feel your emotions. So meaning, you can feel mad, sad, like I've always said, you have to feel your emotions, and then you get back up and you try again. So like, we all fall, we always fall, and then we get back up. We fall, we get back up. And honestly, it's like a major part of life. And I feel like every time we fall, we just get stronger. That's it. It doesn't matter what it is or what you go through. My biggest thing for life is I don't want to look back and be like, dang, but what if? Or dang, like, also listening to this podcast is my reference. A positive mindset mentor, he was telling me like we was talking dead. He was saying that people end up, like there's a statistics where what old people regret the most, and it's not taking that risk, not keeping in touch with certain people, not making sure they have a relationship with their family members instead of worrying about the wrong things. So those are just a couple. I can't remember all of them, but he was just saying, like, you don't want to have any regrets when you get older. You want to say, I gave it all that I could, and I love the life that I live, because life goes fast and we only get one chance. That's it, just one chance. So live the life you want to live. And in conclusion, once you know that your worth, you can understand your purpose, which I've stated in another video. I talked about finding your purpose or purposes, and you can figure out how to achieve your goals and who you want to become. But anyway, if you found that this video was helpful, I hope that you know your worth, or you are on the journey to knowing your worth, because it's super, super important in your life. And like I said, who you want to become, who you want to be to others, how you treat yourself, and the journey that you go on. I hope that you found this video helpful, and make sure that you like the video. That lets me know that you would like for me to share more content similar to this. And don't forget to comment below, subscribe if you haven't. If you got this far, you might as well go ahead and click that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.